Hi, I'm Heather from here booktubes, and today is paranormal romance recommendations. Paranormal romance is not fantasy romance. Say it with me. They are different genres. They're different subgenres, and this is truly one of my greatest pet peeves. So I'm glad that we got into it. Paranormal romance is paranormal creatures, paranormal elements, and it also is recognizable as our world. It doesn't have to be Atlanta, Georgia, but it does have cell phones, or it does have the United States, but it evolved differently, etc. So it is not a made-up fantasy world where we all live in castles, we battle with swords, technology has never existed. That's a different thing. That's a different thing. Honestly, I feel like so irritated in my soul when I watch a paranormal romance recommendation video. There are no specific offenders in my mind, so I'm not actually going after anybody, but I watched the paranormal romance recommendation video and it is all fantasy romance. I have a fantasy romance, many fantasy romance recommendation videos. They are a different thing. They're separate. So anywho, it has actually been a few years. I was looking at my channel. It's been a few years since I did a straight up paranormal romance recommendation video. I've done a couple more specific, winged or supernatural sex. I've done a few more recently like that, but it's been a while since I did generalized paranormal romance. So these are some of my favorites. First one is One Night, One Bite by Dria Andersen. This is a longish novella. It is Black Love. It is an alternate history of the United States where kind of in the time of slavery, the oppressed people got supernatural powers, and that is how they were able to protect themselves and overthrow their oppressors. So the United States is split in half. In the north you have the non-paranormals, and in the south you have the paranormals. And we have the king of the vampires, and he is trying to unite the vampires, and his captain of the guard, bodyguard, right-hand man, etc. meets his fated mate in a nightclub. And that fated mate is celebrating her divorce. And the two of them, he instantly recognizes her as his fated mate. They hook up right away. She is not a vampire. She is a powerful magic user though. And this is going to be the first book in a series, but is the only book coming out before 2024. Dria Andersen writes really lovely, often cozy and low angst, Black love, paranormal, often shifter romances, but this one, not only is it higher on the heat scale, even though there is sex in all of her books, it's just my favorite. It's my favorite. It was an absolute delight, and I cannot stop recommending it because it's so good. The next one is The Tyrant Alpha's Rejected Mate by Cate Wells. I do not like rejected mate as a trope. I don't like it. Don't reject me. Like, you hurt my feelings. I'm too insecure for that. I don't want it, okay? Because I am a self-insert reader, I'm just like, no, this is not how I want to be treated, not into it, no thank you. However, Cate Wells is an all-time favorite author, and when I tell you she can write any trope, whether I like it or not, and I will like it, she is like the definition of that for me. This book, we have the Alpha. He is trying to kind of bring the pack into the 21st century after his abusive father has been deposed and killed and all of that, and he's the Alpha now. However, progress is not as quick as one could hope for, particularly not when it comes to the single female wolves of the pack. So if you are an unprotected single female wolf, as in you're not living with your family and you don't have a man to protect you, you are really low on the pack ranking system, and you all live together and you do like menial chores such as laundry, kitchen duty, serving the other pack members their dinner, etc. And we have kind of the lowest of the low. We have a disabled wolf. She has a limp and a weak leg from an injury as a child, and she has never shifted. She is a latent wolf shifter. Well, she walks into the dining hall to serve, like she always does, and suddenly she finds the Alpha irresistible. And then the Alpha rejects her in front of everyone. And it's like, you are not my mate. I don't understand what we're doing here. I don't understand why you're acting like you're my mate, but if you were my mate, I would know. I would know. She is in agony. She gets this witch to take the mating bond out, so she's fine. And he just can't seem to leave her alone. But why? But why? Why is his wolf insisting that he must be near this woman when he knows they're not fated mates? Because if they were fated mates, he would know it. He would know. He's smart. And then he realizes that maybe his fated mate has been running some contraband right under his nose. Maybe she is getting away with a lot of things that he was not aware that they were up to. And it's just great. I'm not a huge fan of grovel, so there's a little bit of grovel, but not a lot. But truly, he changes his tune, okay? And he's going to have to take the input of his mate, and she is going to help make their pack a better place for everyone. I love it. It's the exception to a trope that I cannot stand, and I will die on this hill. In fact, you know what I could do? I could reread this. I could reread this really, really soon, actually. Brilliant. Great plan, everyone. The next one is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana. This is the only traditionally published book on this list, so it's not fade to black, it's not closed door, but it's a smidgen of spice. It's just a little bit. This writing is impeccable. When I tell you that this book is a delight, a warm hug, the type of feel-good book that you want sometimes, this is like the best of the best of that. So our main character is Indian. All witches are orphaned once that they are birthed. It's a curse that's been going on for years. So she has been raised by another witch, and witches cannot be together very much because magic congregates to them and causes all sorts of magical mishaps when there's too much magic charged up. So she's very, very lonely. Witches can't spend time together, and she was a lonely child and she has grown into a lonely woman. She's not allowed to tell anybody that she's a witch. She can't spend time with people who do know that she's a witch. It just kind of sucks. Then she is contacted by a group, a mishmash, a found family of guardians to these 3 young witches. Now, these 3 young witches should not be together, and they ask her to come and tutor them in magic. She knows that she is breaking the rules, but honestly, she can't resist. And there's a lovely, lovely found family aspect. Not all the kids are welcoming, and some of that is because of the grumpy librarian who just holds her at arm's length and is like, I don't think we need you. I don't think this is a good idea. I don't think that this is maybe what's best for these children. I think we should protect them, and I think we should maybe protect them from you. He is a little bit overruled by some of the other older caretakers, but shenanigans ensue. There are so many fun and interesting twists and kind of reveals in this book. I just loved it. I loved it from beginning to end. An absolute delight. I can't recommend it enough because truly, like, excellence. And I don't say that for everything, but excellence. Next is Yours Insatiably by Aveda. This is a non-binary moth fairy, so they have like kind of yellow fuzzy skin, they have antennae, they have wings, they have got other things. And a succubus, which is a sex demon, a female sex demon, and she is suppressing her demon side. She refuses to acknowledge it. Although paranormals are out in the open and, you know, an accepted part of society, demons and succubuses in particular are still kind of, there's a lot of prejudice towards them. They're viewed, you know, as people who often take without consent, even though that's not necessarily accurate, right? So she is using a paranormal sex service in order to feed. And this, we do have a prequel novella for this, for their one-night stand. They work at the museum together. They are co-workers. She hates him, and they love messing with her, and also not just messing with her to be mean or to make her come undone, but when she's not quite so tightly wound, she's able to do more. And so they love messing with them, and they show up on her doorstep as the sex worker. And it is hot, hot, hot. It's kinky. It's supernatural. There are things that should not be physically possible that we are doing. And then in Insatiably Yours, we watch them fall in love as she continues to try to hold them at arm's length unsuccessfully. It's great, it's queer, it's hot, it's pansexual, it's, you know, it's just a good time. And I am a stan. Next I have The Demon Next Door by Chace Verity. This is another really feel-good, cozy paranormal romance, even though maybe the cover doesn't indicate that. So we have a human single mom and she has 2 kids, I think, and then they get a neighbor and it is a single demon dad with a demon child. And most humans see them as their human persona, but she and her family can see their true selves. And it's just a sweet romance between these 2 single parents. Their kids are delightful, their kids are friends, and while she's, you know, struggling with her partner abandoning their children, you've got this demon who is kind of a shadow daddy and also a very formal judge in the demon world, and is just like kind of tightly wound up, and they're so cute together. I love Chace Verity's queer paranormal romances, but specifically their demons. Their demons are real good. Next I have Sing Me to Sleep by RM Virtues. I love consensual non-consent. I do. And this is done in a really clever way. So we have a sleep paralysis demon and we have a regular human. And she is suffering night terrors and things because her father was killed in a home invasion in her house where she could hear it and everything. Her sleep has just been like no sleep. Sleep doesn't exist anymore, right? So she's really going through it. And then the sleep paralysis demon comes and she can't move, and they're there to feed on her terror, and they find out that maybe that's not really what they want to feed on. But the interesting thing about this is the sleep paralysis demon absolutely cannot touch the human unless the human consents to it. It doesn't have to be out loud, it can be mentally, but they can't do it if you don't want them to do it, right? So because of that, we have these consensual non-consent scenes playing out, but they literally couldn't happen if she wasn't okay with it. And it sets up a whole new world, which we still haven't gotten a second book for, but whatever. It goes a little bit deeper into the world building than you might think that it would, but it does it really well, and it's hot. Lastly, I have Burn For Me, which is Hidden Legacy #1 by Ilona Andrews. This is a urban fantasy series, so we again have Texas, we have the world as we know it, but in the 60s or so, there was a serum and it gave some people magical powers and it killed some people. And now you have these families, their houses, and they have house warfare and magical warfare, but mostly they hold each other accountable for the peace. And house warfare, a house matter, is above the pay grade of the local police and things like that. So they really are their own checks and balances. And we have this family of private detectives, and through no fault of their own, their father died from cancer. Because of that, they, you know, put a lot of loans on the business in order to pay for his treatment, and now the house that owns their debt is forcing them into a lose-lose situation to apprehend this very powerful magic user called a prime that has gone rogue, basically. And they know that they're all gonna die. They're all gonna die. They can't stop this guy. However, they also don't really have any other options. They will lose their business, their home, all the things. So our main character, Aveda, is bound and determined that she's going to take care of this, even though she honestly doesn't think she's going to survive. Her family at least will. And while doing all of this, she, goes up against another powerful magic user, another prime, who's also a billionaire, also a war hero, also his nickname is Mad Rogan. People literally don't think that he is sane. And, you know, he's gonna lock her in his basement, as one does. And then the two of them are eventually going to work together to apprehend this magic user. This is a trilogy, so the couple doesn't get their HEA until farther into this book, although they are definitely involved in this one. This is found family, incredible fight scenes, incredible magic, and a great world building and characters that you love. You'll love the whole family. You'll really care about them. You'll want them to be happy. You'll want them to take care of each other. And you're like, you just won't be disappointed. You won't be disappointed. I know that the cover doesn't instill a lot of confidence. I know that. And I'm telling you that they're the best of the best of the best of the best. And if you haven't read Ilona Andersen before, this is absolutely the book I would recommend starting with. Hands down. No question. And if you hate it, one, Ilona Andersen is not for you. And two, like, I don't know if, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why you're here, because clearly our reading taste doesn't overlap at all. At all. Because it's the best. So that's it. Those are my paranormal romances since my last video years ago that, like, these are just my faves. These are the ones that I get excited to get to recommend to people, because I'm like, oh, you're gonna have such a good book. Like, this is such a good book. You're gonna love it. So give me any recommendations you might have. I love diverse paranormal romance. And thanks so much for watching. Bye.